Do you expect to hear from God? And how often do you expect to hear from God? Elihu is preaching the gospel to Job, and one of the things that he understands, or that he's convinced he needs to build in Job's heart and mind, is an expectation that Job himself will hear from God. He'll hear the voice of God. Until now, it's just been hearing a good set of rules and the good do's and the bad don'ts and the fruit that they produce. And that's on the flesh level, on the natural, in the law level. But Elihu is determined to move Job out of that flesh realm and into the spirit realm, where Job can actually hear from the voice of the Father. And you remember God speaking to the prophet. It wasn't in the earthquake, it wasn't in the storm or whatever, it was in the still small voice. Well, here it was in the storm. God does not have to speak in the way that we determine, or in the way that we expect, or the way that we want or demand Him to speak. God will speak to us in the way that He will speak to us. And Elihu is building this truth, this opportunity for us to receive revelation, because he said back there a couple of episodes ago that there's a spirit in man, and the breath of the Almighty gives him understanding, gives him revelation. Okay, in chapter 33, verse 14, Elihu says, "For God may speak in one way or another, yet a man does not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, when slumbering on their beds." God can speak in what he says here in one way or another. Now, one way or another is not talking about how God communicates with us. It's talking about how God speaks to us. Okay, so you've heard the fallacy type teaching that, you know, sometimes God speaks through experience, sometimes He speaks through circumstance, sometimes He speaks through another person, and sometimes, well, all of those kind of things. And those can all be involved maybe in the time or circumstance where God speaks to us, but God speaks to us by the Spirit. He's put a spirit in man, the Spirit of the Almighty, and He speaks to us through revelation. So when He's saying that God may speak in one way or another, He's saying God expressly, exactly, particularly speaks through a dream, a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, when slumbering on their beds. And that's when you are quiet and still. That's when God will speak to you. That's when we hear what it is that we need to hear. I meditate on this verse in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 10 a lot, particularly this year. Paul is talking to the Corinthian church. He says, "We speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, the hidden wisdom of God, which is ordained before the ages for our glory." Okay, it was put there. It was established before the ages for our glory. "It is written," and he pulls this out of Isaiah, "Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love Him." And this is Isaiah prophesying to those people who were so hard-hearted, stiff-necked, that they couldn't hear from God, like Job's friends. "But God has revealed them to us through His Spirit. For the Spirit searches all things, yes, the deep things of God. For what man knows the things of man except the spirit of man which is in him? Even so, no one knows the things of God except for the Spirit of God." And we have a Spirit of the Almighty in us that knows the things of God. And God speaks them to us, reveals them to us, with the eyes of our understanding being enlightened, right? Good thing to pray for yourself. God, give me the spirit of wisdom and revelation. He speaks to us in those times when we're quiet, and it's often when we're slumbering on our bed. So many times, so many issues, so many matters, God speaks when we're slumbering on our bed. And the conditions for that, hearing from God, is what Elihu is ministering to Job, which is an expectation that you will hear from God. It's right that you and I hear from God. It's right that the people that we preach the gospel to will actually hear from God. As long as they're just hearing from us, there's no life change. There's no salvation. There's no born again, nothing like that. That has to come from the Spirit of God. So in ministering the gospel, our job is to build an expectation in the people that are hearing us that they will, in fact, hear from God, because God has put His Spirit on the inside of them. And it says that this Spirit knows the things that are of God, and God has revealed them to us through His Spirit. For the Spirit searches all things, yes, the deep things of God. The very deep things, the very secrets of God are revealed to us through His Spirit. God loves to share His secrets with us. So in that expectation, Elihu is building such a hunger for Job to hear from God. He keeps attacking the things that have kept Job from hearing from God. He keeps attacking the things that have made his heart hard, the things that have caused him to not perceive the way he needs to perceive. And this hunger is building in Job so that at some point here, Job is going to be able to actually say, okay, I give up. All I want to do is hear from God, and I want to hear from God himself. Our job, preachers, is not to tell people things, but it's to take them to the place where God can tell them what he needs to tell them.